What if everything you loved was taken away in a single day? Your freedom, your family, your future. And yet you still refused to bow your head. On a cold winter morning in 1918, a young Polish officer stood among hundreds of exhausted prisoners behind a barbed wire fence deep inside Siberia. Snow stretched endlessly across the frozen landscape. Guards watched from wooden towers. Hunger, disease, and hopelessness filled the camp. Many prisoners had already given up. Some believed they would never see home again. Others simply focused on surviving one more day. But this young officer looked beyond the fences. His name was Witold Pilecki. And while most people dreamed of escape, he dreamed of something even harder, living with dignity in a world determined to take it away. Pilecki was born in 1901, during a time when Poland did not officially exist as an independent nation. Powerful empires had divided Polish lands among themselves, erasing the country from the map of Europe. Yet Polish identity survived in homes, churches, and families. From childhood, Pilecki grew up hearing stories about freedom, sacrifice, and courage. Those lessons would shape the rest of his life. As Europe descended into chaos during World War I, young Pilecki joined organizations dedicated to preserving Polish culture and independence. When Poland finally regained independence in 1918, after more than a century of foreign rule, millions celebrated. But freedom proved fragile. Only a few years later, Poland faced new threats. In 1920, Soviet forces advanced toward Warsaw in what became one of the most important conflicts in European history. Pilecki joined the Polish army and fought to defend his newly reborn nation. The fighting was brutal. The future of Poland hung in the balance. Against overwhelming odds, Polish forces achieved a stunning victory in what historians later called the Miracle on the Vistula. For many young soldiers, the victory felt like proof that courage could overcome impossible circumstances. After the war, Pilecki returned to civilian life. He married.
Authoritarian control. Once again, he faced a choice: stay silent and remain safe, or continue resisting. He chose resistance. Pilecki began gathering information about abuses committed by the new communist authorities. It was dangerous work. The government viewed independent resistance as a threat. In 1947, he was arrested. Interrogators tortured him repeatedly. Friends later reported that he considered his treatment after the war even harsher than some experiences he had endured inside Auschwitz. Despite immense pressure, he protected others whenever possible. In a show trial, he was accused of crimes against the state. The verdict had already been decided. On May 25, 1948, Witold Pilecki was executed. He was 47 years old. For decades afterwards, communist authorities attempted to erase his memory. His story was suppressed, his achievements hidden, his sacrifice ignored. But truth has a remarkable habit of surviving. Years later, after the fall of communism, historians uncovered the full scale of his actions. The world learned about the man who voluntarily entered Auschwitz, the man who built resistance networks in Stein Death Camp, the man who escaped, continued fighting, and refused to surrender his principles. Today, many historians consider Witold Pilecki one of the bravest individuals of the 20th century. Not because he was fearless, but because he acted despite fear, again and again. His story teaches a lesson that reaches far beyond war or politics. Life is not merely about staying alive. Anyone can exist. Anyone can endure. But living with courage, dignity, and purpose, when circumstances demand surrender, that is something far rarer. Pilecki could have chosen comfort. He could have chosen safety. He could have chosen silence. Instead, he chose the harder path every single time. And that is why history remembers him. Because life is not simply surviving another day. Life is fighting for what is right and holding your head high, even when the world tries to force it down.